Gudam.tk presents Monkey D. Luffy, Sailing Again. Hey again everybody, it's Robert184, 2Rs2Bs from YouTube and gudam.tk, where I usually do reviews of Gundam plastic models of all shapes and sizes, but today, because I'm taking a look at the Master Grade Figurized Monkey D. Luffy, which is a plastic model that you actually put together, I'm also going to be taking a look at the Portrait of Pirates of the Monkey D. Luffy after the time skip, because he's sailing again. This was first released in December 2011 by Mega House. This is part of their excellent model series and it retails for 6,000 Japanese yen plus tax. From the incredibly popular manga One Piece and anime, I'm really curious to hear from One Piece fans. Is Portrait of Pirates your favorite series to collect from? Or how about Figure Art Zero, or is there something else? Or could that Master Grade Figurized surprise us all with its quality? On the back of the box, you can see that there's a bunch of different poses, which is sort of cool because the extra limbs that are included means he's not just going to be stuck in one position. And on the other side, there's a very cool one of him with his famous straw hat. When you open this up, you're going to see, if you can get it out of your damaged box, hopefully yours are in better shape than mine, only a couple tie wraps stopping you from taking this apart, and when you take it out and have the limbs fall out, the extras that you're going to get is a head with some flat hair there so you can put on the hat, an extra face, and then these various parts of the limbs that are going to fit in left and right. You'll get a shiny red stop sign of a base here with P.O.P Sailing Again and Monkey D. Luffy Mugiwara Pirates and no Japanese on it. But most importantly, you'll be getting Monkey D. Luffy getting ready to do what he does best, which is beat down anybody who is going to get in the way of him and his friends. And this guy is looking pretty sharp in terms of statue figures. The upper body has some nice details. The hair is looking good. It's got parts all over it that are looking quite differentiated. The jacket looks good as well as it's open in the front. You can see his yellow new trademark sash as it comes around, and the scar on his chest is looking proper, and the hands actually fit in there quite nicely. And one cool part about this is that he's not frozen as you'd think, because the head is actually on a ball joint, so you can get the head to move around that much, although the arms, the way they are here, are not going to move at all. The lower body is going to have two colors there for the sandals, so the brown straps are looking good, and the jean shorts. You can see that the light is going to reflect off that differently as it rotates around, and the best part being is that these parts here at the bottom are not all white like they are with the Master Grade. In fact, they're blue and white, and overall, all of the color wraps on here look really positive. For the face, I think it looks okay with the eyebrows and the scar. Everything's depicted the way it should be, but it just comes across as looking a little bit more plasticky than some of the other figures I've seen in the P.O.P lines. If you want to trade off the heads there, you're going to have head and hair A and B there, which is a set. B is going to go with a cap. And because you have 3 different faces and any of those can work with either of those, you're going to have 6 different combinations, which is pretty good. The hat is looking pretty good with some good details in there, including some shading. And in addition to being able to move the head around, you can also move the hat around on the head, although it is going to sit in one position most naturally. But if you're not a fan of that angle, you can always just reposition it, though it may not sit as nicely. One thing you may not be such a fan, though, is that the angle that he's standing at, if you look at him straight on from the side, he just looks to be leaning back a little bit, which doesn't seem to be too big of an issue from the front, but then again, it could have been posed in just a little bit cooler style. If you separate all the limbs, here's what you're going to get, and you'll see that there's a lot more for his right arm there. When you go to swap out the arms, they've got a different shoulder mount here for the left and right arms, so you can't make any mistakes. His arms raised in victory pose is looking pretty good, especially if you've got the right triumphant face on there. As does his rejection of a vegetarian way of life. This right arm is custom made for holding the hat on the back of his head, and you can still use his full set of hair here. You don't have to use the smooth one for this pose. Something I'm a little disappointed in, though, is just that his right arm, despite the fact that it's got more limb options, they're all going to be going up or across. So you can see that this one is going to fit in here to put the hat on the back. This one is going to come across for the punch across the chest. And this one is going to go up in the air to cheer, but you're not going to have any if you wanted to put the cap down on his side, as we've seen with so many other figures. And if you want to put on the angry face, you can't really have him getting ready to punch with his right arm, but you can have him at least getting ready to strike somebody down. So now for a list of some of the good and bad things that I've come up with this kit so far. First of all, the colors. I think he looks great, especially in the jeans and the hat. There's tons of color details in there to go along with the sandals, which are going to make the colors pop, and that's important. When you've got 6 different head combos between the hair and the 3 faces, everything like that, those are all positives. You can get lots of different expressions out of him, which is the way it should be. And it comes with a solid base, which isn't that exciting, but it's sort of cool that it's the traditional P.O.P, it's the right shape, and it's got all the writing that you'd expect on there. In addition, you're going to be getting lots of arm combos, maybe not as many as you'd like, but still having them is a big plus. So there are lots of positives to counter out some of the negatives, and one of the ones that I'd throw out there is they're going to give you a bunch of different faces, but what about giving you a stupid face or a shocked face or a ridiculous face? Luffy, that's what he's known for, and that would be cool to have a stupid one. Even if you're not going to use it, it would just add a lot of fun. Speaking of the face, I think he's got a slightly plastic look there to most of them. Being a plastic figure, that's to be expected, but it just seems to be not so much of an issue with some of the other figures, so maybe this one, so they could have done something a little bit different. I am a little bit disappointed that they don't have a downward right arm, because having his cap on his hip, as I mentioned, is something we've seen Luffy do a million times, and it's done on other figures and done quite well. And even though most of the color wraps are good, I would have said that we could see some better work there with the scar could stand out a little bit more. The sash has no detailing whatsoever. If you want to go in there and ink it up, I'm sure you could. But for somebody like me who just takes it out of the package, it just leaves a little bit to be desired. And finally, when he's standing there, is he leaning back? I wonder if that's too much. From the front it looks good, and that's the way you're going to be seeing it. But from some angles it just looks a little bit strange. So my final verdict though is going to be a positive, because in the end, does it capture the power of the anime and the manga? And I'm going to say yes, it does. It's not a stationary toy. I was already complaining that they don't give you enough options with all the ones that they give you. When they give you some instead of just the one, you're always going to want more, but the fact that they have more than one is a big plus compared to some old ones. However, for the future, you know Luffy's going to get made a million more times, and I can't wait to see what's happening in the new world. But I'd really like to hear from you, people that have bought a lot of P.O.P stuff in the past. How does this compare to other One Piece toys and figures? I'd love to hear from you with a comment down below. It would be greatly appreciated. And if you're interested in Gundam reviews and all sorts of stuff like that, don't forget to check out my channel, gudam.tk, and here on YouTube. Anyway, everybody, Robert184, gudam.tk. See you next time. Thanks for checking this out. Bye. For this scene to be possible, you just have to pretend that Luffy got hypnotized.